Welcome to Sam Outside. I'm Sam and I'm outside noticing the change. That's right, we're late summer, early fall, and the forest should not be at this stage in its seasonal change. I'm at the top of a ridge in a hardwood stand, predominantly maple, red maple, sugar maple, but there are dappled here and there. I mean, we've got some hornbeam and some black cherry. There are some beech. And yeah, there's the odd ash here and there. And it's the ash that drew my attention. So for weeks now, with such a long, dry season, a drought, um, up here on the high ground, there just isn't enough water in the soil because the granite is literally within inches. So they're surviving off their stores of energy. And so what I'm noticing, and what I have been noticing for the past month, is that all the saplings, that's any tree under 4 inches, not considered a tree yet, it's still a sapling. Um, they haven't had a chance to really change and change color as the seasons, the way the trees in the upper canopy are. They are literally just drying out, still green, not even turning brown and drying. They're drying out and falling, and so that is predominantly what I'm seeing in the leaf litter on the ground. And then in the more developed species, the ones that are 60, 80, 100 years old, they've done this before. They've seen hard times, right? They've gone through uh, the climate change events where we've got high winds coming from a different direction, stressing their anchors. Freezing rain and ice as opposed to snow load, so just challenges their structural integrity a little bit differently. Really wet seasons, right? It changes their growth, and then drought really stressing them. So we'll see that, and we can look at it, document it, and study it in the growth rings when the trees are down, and we see evidence of that through the history of our planet when we take a look and study growth rings in trees to find out what's been happening with our climate and what that looks like and how it affects other living things. But this morning it's the ash. I haven't really noticed it before, but this morning definitely it's the contrast. It's not just the yellow of the very different structure of an ash frond on the ground, but a lot of them are still green. It's just too dry, right? So the saplings, too dry. They're not even dropping their leaves. They're literally just drying up, right, and staying on the branch. So it's a very different look in the forest, right? All the saplings, anything under 4 inches, it's makes me wonder if they've had a chance to harden enough next year's buds and they'll be able to survive. And some of the trees are upper canopy. They're definitely more thin than they should be at this time of year. This amount of leaf litter on the ground really shouldn't be here till at this time in the next month. So, the drought, all right, and we've gone weeks without a significant rainfall. When we do get the rain in the forecast, it's never in the amount and never for as long as they say. So it's not enough to actually replenish water stores in the ground, and certainly not enough to stay. So yeah, I'm seeing those effects in the forest around me, and it makes me wonder about the success of a lot of these trees next year, right? And it's because of what I do. I find that mirrored in my own life, right? Going through constant change, looking for ways to improve habits, and whether it's diet or sleep or exercise or a time in nature or capacity to connect with friends and family, and not only maintain connections, but the ability to actually make new connections. And when I take a look at the constant change, and it happens daily, I walk the same paths every day, and there's just constant change in nature, especially in the deciduous forest, right? So they go from bud to leaf to harden off a new leaf after significant growth, not only in the leaf, but in the stem, in the root, and then that all hardens off, and then it all falls. So the trees are used to putting so much energy into their resources to only have it go away in the hopes that that foundation has been laid for a greater success in the next season. So I take a look at my own need for change, and is the foundation that I'm laying enough for a better version of myself at this time next week, this time next month, this time next year? All right, thinking about those things. And when it comes to changes that happen in life, sometimes they're not planned for, right? So that's what makes it hard. And people that go through extreme changes, not out of their control or planning or abilities, struggle, right? The way that I'm noticing this forest struggle. And again, I don't see the same degree of struggle in those well-developed specimens, right? Because they've done some aspects of this before, whether this is more challenging and new, they have some experience, they have some reserves in their being, in their growth history. But I see the greatest amount of change and stress in the younger. And again, finding mirrors of my life, right? Those of us who've had some exposure to change outside of our control. Yeah, I've been here before. It's not comfortable, but I think I can do it again. Well, I have to do it again, but what's the impact going to be? And how can I resist and manage the greatest impact on my own well-being, physically, mentally, emotionally, financially, and for those that I'm responsible for, right? Yeah, and I see the stresses on these young saplings. Makes me wonder if they're going to recover. And I think about the youth that I have an opportunity to work with, that I'm engaged with, that are my clients. When they go through severe changes like this in their own environment, do they have the foundation to cope, to not have those stresses affect their future selves in a negative way? So just makes me think, how can I help, right? So how can I inspire? How can I give hope? How can I make it okay for them to share the reality of those stresses in a safe way, in a safe space, and let them know that, yeah, it's hard, but we're here to help. Can't do that with these saplings. There's nothing I can do for this forest that's going to affect immediate change. But I am noticing it. I am aware of it. And I do acknowledge that it is something that is going to be becoming more prevalent in our history as we notice, analyze, and are challenged by the reality of stronger climatological events. I think I just made that word up. But so there are little things I can do in my own home to lessen my impact on my immediate environment. So yeah, I can water the trees in my yard. I have done it. The saplings that I planted, the garden that I have, flower beds, I can water those, give them a foundation. But as far as this forest, it might be a little bit beyond my scope. But I am aware and am concerned, and I can do what I can in my own way, my own home, to affect my own community, but be aware of what's happening at the world at large, and then share those observations and that concern and ask for help. So, mirrors in my life. Change happens every day throughout the day. But the consequences of that change is more impactful on some other living things than others. And I'm noticing it in this drought. I'm noticing it in the youth that I work with. A little bit of perspective. Hey, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I'll keep you updated. Go outside. See if it's happening in the wild spaces around you. Thanks again. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.